have minutes from the meeting before either to approve.
Better to have it on the agenda and not need it rather than
Yeah.
need it though. Let's play this game again. Which password out of all 300 that I actively use right now is it?
So 1:30 Monday, we have staff meeting, right?
Yep.
Board of review,
At the next day, the 22nd.
and it says meeting dates here, the 22nd, but it doesn't say what time, is it 7 o'clock? 5. 5? 5 PM to 7? Does anyone put in any paperwork?
I thought Brad said a couple people did.
Okay.
That might be a few number two, because I know I've got a question into the assessor, and they said they're doing like, they do them in batches, so they hadn't done Vernon yet. So I asked, well, where did you come from? Oh, it'll all be done before then, so we'll be in touch.
No.
We'll be done by the time he gets here, won't we? We'll be done by the time he gets here?
Why? Because of the lack of discussion?
I didn't say that, yeah.
Back to the real facts. You ready to begin, gentlemen? I'm going to call the village board meeting to order. Today is Thursday, August 17th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. At this point on the agenda, we'll note for the record that I am here. Trustee Slawney has an excused absence. He'll be late. Trustee Finch, are you here?
Yes.
Trustee Newman, are you here?
Here.
Trustee Millies, are you here?
Here.
Note for record, there is a quorum of the board, and I did talk to Brad, and this agenda was posted and in full compliance with the open meetings law. Is there any public comments at this point? There's no public comments. I'm going to read the closed session, and then if the board would think about doing a deviation so we could get Ward in and out. There's a possible closed session, consideration and possible action on a motion to convene an executive session under Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85 paren 1 paren E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investment of public funds, or or conducting any other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining sessions require a closed session. More specifically, the contract services for the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department. In closed session will be the Village Board of Trustees, the Village Clerk Administrator, and the Village Attorney may attend in person or by phone or by Zoom. This motion will require a roll call vote, and no action will be taken in closed session. At this point in the agenda, would there be any objection to deviate from the agenda to hear Ward Hollingworth's report? Ward, do you have any report for us this evening, sir? There is none. Well, we thank you, Ward, for your service, and you can go back to work and stay nice and safe. Thanks, Ward. Thank you for all you do, sir. At this point in the agenda, if the board wouldn't mind, Mike, Alex, would you please come up to the desk here? And what we'd like to talk about is, and I hope board members, Brad had sent a memo out, and I wanted Mike to at least talk to the board about his concerns, and then possibly take this at staff. But Mike, if you wouldn't mind, would you like to start, please?
Sure. Are we on?
Yes.
Okay. Mike Alex, S110W23450, County Line Drive, Vernon, Waterford. And I'm not sure if everybody was made aware of the memo from Trustee Solani, but I'm going to kind of be referencing that as I go through to kind of do some more explaining and kind of talk through it. So thanks for taking the time to review these matters and further discuss my concerns as they span a number of different areas, as well as issues that I believe are a concern not only for me, but also for the rest of the Vernon residents. A good way in doing that will be to respond to Trustee Solani's submitted comments. First, in stating that the previous board spent hours upon hours discussing the very same issue, I would reply in saying that that the time was spent because of the quagmire of our application and execution of it that we were put through by the previous administration. That is something I can proudly say we made it through as a family and a business, and I prefer leaving that time of our lives in the rearview mirror to keep from thinking about the time, energy, and resources it took from us. That said, I am raising the, quote, same issue in that the billing practices of municipal law group were the same then as they are now, and no real looking into them was ever done, which is why we and all other applicants are stuck with excessive attorney fees since nothing has been done to address it. In continuing to take Mr. Solani's points in order, regarding his comments on point 1 through 3, I agree that this is an administrator item, the ones that he references, but I did want the board to know that it did in fact happen in hopes to analyze how or why it did, and have the clerk's office make any necessary changes to its process and procedures to run more effectively. I also agree with Mr. Solani's point that the customer should be notified. While I have not received any other past due invoices, I have never received correspondence from the clerk's office that it was in error and the bill voided. Again, as the body which oversees that office, I wanted the board to be aware of those items, and seeing and hearing how part of an organization operates from its users, that's us in this case, is important in knowing how it's being effective and acting as intended. Regarding Mr. Solani's comments on point 4, I agree that further discussion and analysis be done regarding the relationship with our village legal services. Hopefully this board will take a real look into this area of our village operation and governance, and if that needs to be in the closed session, so be it, but it needs to be done. I will also note that numerous times I've asked for a copy of a professional services agreement between municipal law and Vernon, and have been told one doesn't really exist. Annually, fees are discussed and updated, but beyond that, I've never heard of or seen anything. If one does in fact exist, I would appreciate being able to see it. As a small business owner, I couldn't imagine having such an important business relationship with a professional vendor and not have a clear agreement that defines that relationship. Next, as I stated above, and Mr. Solani references, there has not been any change in municipal law group's billing practices because it was never really addressed at the time. No deep dive or even a shallow one was ever done to analyze the issues we raised. Making previous concessions has nothing to do with the items at hand. If points we raise are still the result of an error of practice. As I have stated then and still do today, I don't doubt that when, quote, review correspondence is billed for, there was an email that was opened and read by municipal law group. But if that email was of no substance, for example, a reply all that a meeting time works, it shouldn't trigger a $30 fee. Likewise, receiving a voicemail and charging $30 for listening to it, then another $30 plus when the other party is actually reached, is a billing practice that needs to be understood and addressed. We have been charged for these communication back and forth with it never being addressed with the attorney. I have asked for but not received the correspondence we've been billed for, which would help to shed light on whether any work of substance was done to warrant the charge, or if in fact it was simply a pay-per-click scenario. Again, phone records would probably show a phone call received or made, but whether that becomes a billable item is what is in question. If that is the case, as the attorney, why would I ever answer the phone? Playing phone tag or reply all emails are gold mines. In addressing our current concern, I draw your attention to Municipal Law and Litigation Group's invoice number 9771. I have copies of these. I don't know if those were in your packets.
Yeah, what's the amount on it, Alex?
The subtotal is $601.
Yes, they have that. And they have one that's 645 too, Alex.
Between 323 and 327, we were billed a total of $325 relating to, quote, public hearing notice, which I have also attached. I have a copy of that public hearing notice. This is boilerplate work done by the village clerk, and a single review by legal, along with all of the other items on the agenda, should suffice unless it is a repeated error in its drafting by village staff or a means for billable clicks by the attorney. The day our public hearing was held, April 12th, there were 2 other public hearing notices that, if treated the same way as ours, would cost your constituents $975 in legal fees. Again, all are drafted by the clerk. Additionally, I agree with Mr. Solani that other residents should not have to pay these fees. As I stated during the discussions to the previous board, the issue has to be raised with the vendor, Municipal Law Group, to contest the charges and have them removed, not simply paid and passed along for the general fund to pay. We need to address the problem, the practices, not just shift the burden from one place to another. The customer is the village of Vernon, and we need to be able to have a real discussion with the vendor when need be. Finally, saying that this is a cost of doing business is disheartening if it is to continue in Vernon. As I have stated in the past, we understand there are costs of doing business, which we pay annually to Vernon and other entities. Anyone who runs a small business knows that there are countless fees, licenses, taxes, and everything else that get the first dollar of everything you earn. Then, having frivolous fees attached to your business, anytime you look to do anything, just takes resources that could be further invested and spends them on something of no value or true impact. We are a thriving and growing Vernon business, as well as residents, and while some may be tired of us trying to make changes in the village for the better and hold government and its agents accountable, we'll continue to do it not only because we're advocating for ourselves, but also for others looking to make Vernon a better place. Vernon is a place we not only live in ourselves today, but intend on our family living in for generations. Believe me, just as I have better use of our funds than excessive legal fees, so do I have better uses for my time instead of planning for and attending meetings such as this. In conclusion, we can't have excessive fees or unnecessary burdens make doing business in Vernon, whether commercially or as a resident, at best a headache or at its worst a roadblock. We need to always be analyzing and adapting as a village, whether in processes and procedures internally, those of our contracted professional services, or in planning and development in order to carry out our goals of creating a thriving community that is sustainable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Are there any questions from the board members at this point? I did want to ask the board, Trustee Solani did draft that memorandum. I know you haven't had a chance to read that. But also, we have a staff meeting coming up on the 21st, and
Right.
I know I had questions in regards to some of these issues, and I was wondering if the board would have any objection of, we're discussing this on the 21st, and obviously we wouldn't make any decisions on the 21st, Mr. Alex, but we'd be talking and getting an explanation. I mean, I need an explanation. I don't know how the rest, does the board also agree that they'd like to hear from the attorney also? So, Mr. Alex, if you don't mind, if you don't mind holding off, that we could at least talk to our attorney, and then it's obvious to the board that we have a fee that we'd have to void. But if you don't mind, Mr. Alex, what we'd like to do is talk to the attorney about this and some of the other concerns we raised at a board meeting with the attorney, and then come back at a board meeting after we had those discussions, and then, discuss it further with the board. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And being able to see that email trail back and forth, the 23rd and 24th, specifically would kind of be able to say what was the substance of those charges.
And I know Brad was looking for that, but and that's probably my fault, Mr. Alex, because I did tell Brad to focus on getting the auditor needs the last minute of,
Yeah, no, that's fine. And Brad, you did get me, but that was from November. So there was a block that you gave me from 2 applications ago. But so it'd be targeting in that 323.
Yeah, March of.
327.
Yeah, so, and then Brad, too, if you could copy that to the board also. Also, too, maybe it'd be nice to see all those amendments to the conditional use. There was a lot of back and forth there, Brad, so if you could forward that to the board and Mr. Alex, that would be extremely helpful, sir. So, all right, Mr. Alex, we'll just continue this on the 21st.
Sounds good. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Mike, you have a good night.
Everything else was to the travel.
Okay. That's good. So, board members, what we'll do is we'll hold off on item number 6B, if you don't mind. I mean, that's an obvious one, but it's kind of nice to do everything at one time. And then, Brad, do you have any Center Drive Bridge updates at this point?
No, she said they're probably getting an upcoming.
Mikey? Sorry.
There'll be most likely an upcoming public officials meeting. Nothing's mandatory for you guys to attend. You're welcome to attend. It'll just be the public officials here in Vernon, along with surrounding areas and entities that are affected or related to the bridge. So, like I said, it'd be nothing that's mandatory for you guys, but you're more than welcome to attend. And there will be a subsequent meeting after that that's more of an open house regarding the project too. So, of the two, I think if you guys are at the open house, I think that's more probably pertinent than the public officials meeting, but you're more than welcome to attend public officials meeting. And so that's all that I have to report out on that.
So no contracts or?
Nope.
Yay. All right. So what we'll do now is our announcements. I'm going to be extremely brief. I wanted board members and the public to see the work that Nancy Dean did on Dodges Corner Cemetery. Our staff has this out on the counter so people can look at it. And I'd like board members to take a peek at it also, because I really think this woman deserves some type of proclamation or acknowledgement for all her hard work. So that's one thing I wanted to thank Nancy Dean, and then thank her formally and ask her to come forward to accept a proclamation for all her hard work. It's very, very well done and much, much, much appreciated. I've attended 2 DOT meetings. Brad and I have been back and forth with the Village of Mugwanago in meetings, and also had a couple phone calls from residents in regards to the roadways, cutting grass on the roadways. And I know if you get phone calls, board members, the DPW department is real busy doing that final shouldering, and as soon as they get done with the new road shouldering, then they'll do the cutting of the grass on the roadside, if you get phone calls also. And with that, I will turn to Trustee Finch. Do you have any announcements?
Nothing tonight.
Trustee Newman?
Nada.
Trustee Millies?
I would just like to say, Trustee Finch and Deputy Clerk Sue Fisher, good choice on shirt colors tonight.
I like Dylan's.
I'm gonna Rolling Stones shirt.
And also, early goose season starts September 1st through the 15th. So if you start hearing gunshots, you know why.
Uh-oh. Thank you, Trustee Millies. Brad, Clerk Administrator?
So the one I have a note on there is the color design is, this board is aware, back in April or May, you guys approved a contract with Keller to look at design stuff for fire station number 1 in Village Hall and DPW. Karen and I and the fire chief and the DPW director have been meeting with them 3 or 4 times now. We went and toured the brand new fire station in Toma a couple weeks ago, and so we've been working hard on it, talking a lot about what the needs are so far, more so than design, and we're kind of getting to that point. And you know, what goes along with design and needs is also budgets or what our expectations are. So I think, you know, moving forward, there will be some discussions on that as we look to what is the cost of a new facility and things like that. And as we move through the process, there'll definitely be time for the village board and, you know, I think public to come in and have discussions with us on what they see the needs being, more than just what the staff is, you know, kind of said at this point. But I think staff has done a good job at, you know, outlining the current issues we have with our current facilities and what we need moving forward is definitely what we've focused on there. You know, the big thing will always come down to what are our needs and what are our wants, and so you know, that's what we'll have to look at moving forward with that. So I think as we move forward, you know, there'll be more on that, but I think if anybody's been through a building project before, you know, you always want it tomorrow, but it's can be a long, tedious process at the end of the day. So, you know, we're not breaking ground on any new buildings this year, or we don't know, at least not this year. So there's that, and then we've just been working on audit stuff, wrapping that up. You know, as we had reported, the cash reconciliation was a big process. We got that finished up here late last week or over the weekend. Got that to the auditor, so we're hopefully now here in the home stretch of getting this stuff wrapped up. There's a couple little things here and there that we got to finish up with her, but the cash reconciliation and having the numbers to her are really the big items. So hopefully I can start hitting that hard. And some of you guys, just so you know where we are with Workhorse, everything's been implemented to this point. We're starting our payroll portal. We started payroll portal on this paycheck with the office staff, which seemed to go, I think, very smooth. Everything's done via web. So your guys' payroll, you won't be in the payroll portal, but all the other staff will. And we'll be transitioning to that. This next pay period, we'll have DPW get on board, and then the next one will be the fire department to be fully implemented. So everything is going good. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Brad. And I just wanted to say, too, I mean, Brad has done a great job on the cash reconciliation, a lot of hard work. Thank you, Brad, on all the things that you're doing. I really appreciate it. Next agenda item, we have the sheriff's report, and the sheriff was here. The report from the sheriff's department was in your packet. The fire department report, there was a typo on there. It says August, but that was really a July report that was in your packet. I'm sure the chief is going to change that. So right now, we'd go into accounts payable. There is a little typo on there. That should be August 17th. Is there any, I know, Jeff, you had a few questions on the APs. I don't know if you wanted to ask Brad.
The exit one, Jeff, would have been
We-
at the back of the packet.
They got it now.
No, I found it in the packet, but I didn't see it listed in the report, the initial beginning report.
The initial one,
Yeah.
it should have been on the first offer one.
That's why I was saying, was it included in the total or not?
Oh.
Yes, it was. It was. So there would have been the first report, and there would have been another one in there. It should have been that first one.
Oh, that in the packet, you had APs too, right?
Yes, I just didn't see it in the reports. I don't know if it was included in the total amount was included or not.
Yeah, if you look at it, it should have been like right on the first page, right at the top, accurate would have been.
Okay.
And maybe if you-
Probably was out of order, that's why I didn't see it. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it should have been on page.
Oh, yeah, right, the very first one, yeah. And this was in the back of the packet, that's why I didn't.
Yeah.
And then the other question was on the garage supplies from Highline. Showed we had a credit of $669.16 with a new charge of $148.74. That we're not writing a check for that amount, are we?
Look at the report. If it was in there, it probably was. But we can pull the check. We can.
I was gonna say, no, you sending a check and we got a credit,
We can
yeah.
pull the check and void it, and bring it back and void the check. to approve payment of that amount from the credit.
And then the other invoice from that David Fortin overhead doors, the receipt showed 1,800, but in the packet here, it says $1,884. So I'm not sure where the $84 is coming from. Did it say 1,800 somewhere?
Yeah,
I don't know, I just saw 1,800.
Final moldings,
yeah.
84.
Yeah, so the two sections at 1,200, labor 600, and then on the left side of the invoice,
Yeah, because I don't.
looks like
That's page 40. Fuel.
84, it looks like 84. I can see it being 89, but
Okay, I only saw the one that said 1,800, I didn't see the $84 anywhere, so.
yeah.
That's, I was
Did we
just,
just hit another garage door, or yeah?
They hit it when the power went out on the 31st, that Friday night in July.
Yeah, they called. The fire department called right away to say that nobody was injured, no structural damage, but significant structural damage.
And it says 1884 on the invoice there, right at the middle section of it.
Yeah, I see that, and then
Okay.
APC, yeah.
I missed that.
all right, that was the only questions I had.
Any other questions from board members? So Brad, the actual total is 71,081.82?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd make a motion to approve the APs in the amount of $71,081.82. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll sit.
Second by trustee Millies. Discussion. Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Let's see. ACH transactions for May, we brought that back only to add that one payroll in there. So I'd make a motion to approve the ACH transactions for May 31st, ending May 31st, 2023, in the amount of $106,439.65. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Was that trustee Finch?
Newman.
Oh, I'm sorry, trustee Newman. Discussion.
I kind of mumbled it. That's my fault.
Discussion. Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. ACH transactions for July of 2023. Board members, just so you know, once we get a workhorse, you know, I just wanted to get something in so we could stay on top of our financials. But if you look, all the ACH transactions are listed out and delineated there. Brad did supply all the payroll information from Workhorse there. So Brad will perfect this, you know, next month, but I just wanted him to focus on the audit. So, but the actual amount, if you look at the checking account and look at Brad's numbers, the ACH balance is $114,339.34 for July of 2023. Is there a motion to, I'll make that motion to approve. Is there a second to the motion?
Oh.
Second by trustee Newman, or trustee Newman. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board member financial reports from January to July. They should be completed, in June. May is like $100 off, and then I kind of, with the family issues, it's really my fault that we're not, I mean, June is ready to go. $100 off on May. So it should be done shortly. So I just wanted to let you know you should be getting your financials shortly. And then Brad, you gave an update. I know he's been working with Karen Wolf, our auditor. The only thing is, maybe Brad too, if you could add to the staff that we discussed, I did talk to Howard to see if he wanted to help us with the 2020-24, but maybe we could talk at staff to see if we want to talk to Karen, or who would you suggest that we get some audit help for, before we go, you know, when we get to the 2020-24, the final, we always get an auditor involved just to double check our numbers, even though we've got good financial people in Tom. I just wanted to talk to the board about that, you know, so we have somebody on board for that.
Sure.
And I'll send you guys I have the P&L done January through July.
Yeah.
I'll send that to you guys tonight or first thing in the morning.
Okay.
So with that, and board members, like I said, the minutes will get on our next board agenda, but I hope you don't mind, the focus truly is to get that audit done so Karen and Brad can finish that out. So like I said, the minutes will do it at the next board meeting, so just wanted a reminder on, we do have our staff meeting on Monday, we have Board of Review on Tuesday, beginning at 5, Brad? And then our September normal first and third board meetings are a village board, and then, Brad, we will have a combined plan commission
Combined plan commission with the public hearing for the floodplain
ordinance, September 13th, so put that on your calendars. And with that, I would entertain a motion to move into closed session pursuant to what is printed on the agenda and what the president stated. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion? Brad, would you read the roll call vote, please?
President Chu,
Aye.
trustee Song is absent, trustee Fitch,
Yes.
trustee Newman,
Yes.
trustee Millies.
Yes.
We are going into closed session. Thank our audience, and thank you, Sue, and